can you explain that process for you? Like after getting out of treatment and then building up the skills and the habits and et cetera. Like you said, cooking, managing a budget, all those kind of things.
Well, I mean, for me, it's just come. I've built and developed these skills over time through being in recovery for the past 8.5 years. Over time, these are all basic skills that I just, as a human being, didn't really have, you know? Um, and so I had to learn all these things as I went and lived through and started building a recovery. And what a lot of people don't understand, if you're not in recovery or struggling with any form of addiction or mental health, is that you are having to learn all these things, which are new, they're scary, they're hard, they are not normally talked about, like societally, I don't think, not nearly enough. You are having to learn all these things, make drastic changes in your life. Who isn't scared of change? Or what human being doesn't love their little comfort zone bubble and doesn't want to change that, right? So you are having to do all these things on top of staying sober for a day, or on top of like just not relapsing behaviorally, or not succumbing, like being overwhelmed by whatever that mental health is that you're dealing with. So the compound of the stress and of what you're trying to accomplish is really massive. And I don't think people quite realize that enough, you know?
Yeah.
So it was an unbelievable amount of work, and hard and tough and scary to do. And going through it, like, I was just blessed to have built that recovery circle, those friends and family that I had to help coach me through it. I was blessed to have financial support to go to treatment, and then to go to ongoing treatment, to be able to learn these things and get that kind of help. If I didn't, I don't see how I could have the recovery that I did today. And that was one of the things that I look back with all of this is, if I didn't have that kind of support, where was I going to learn these things from? Where was I going to learn all this? It just wasn't out there, right? Which is so important as to why I'm wanting to incorporate these things and build them on this channel. It's because I was fortunate enough to have had that amount of support to build the kind of life and recovery that I have now. So as we know, in recovery, it's now my job to pay that forward and to help the next people in line. And the channel has the ability to do that tenfold. If I'm able to share all that experience with what I learned through recovery to help get me to where I am now, to then help others build and do those same skills. I mean, I've had both ends of the spectrum, which is why I feel my experience with this is so important, because yes, I had support to go through treatment and to get ongoing therapy. And I also have been in and out of homelessness for years and lived in sober Toronto community housing and been on social assistance and lived off like $700 a month. So I have had and done both, So being able to share that experience and just being like, okay, if you have $20 for the week to eat, here's what you can do with it. Here's what I did to help me stretch a buck to get like just the basic. What's the most that I can eat with $20 for a week? Like basics, like you can't find info like that anywhere, and I found no real guidance or support through our social system looking for this kind of stuff. And throughout all this, keep in mind, I'm not trying to necessarily like place blame and get mad here, because that's not going to help anybody. It's just, these are observations and experiences that I had, and realized that these are huge areas that need to be filled and covered, essentially. Right. And the other part too with it is that over time, I want to make this channel really collaborative. So it's not all going to be just coming, hey, here's me. This is my experience. This is what I did. I hope it can help you too. Because a lot of people do that, which is great. But through this time, through my work and education experience, I've also been able to make a lot of contacts. So I want to be having videos with other folks coming on too, right? Like rather than like I'll share my experience with you on cooking on a budget, but why would I not want to bring in some like current industry chefs and professionals to come and do that? I can teach you my experience on fitness and yoga, but why would I do that when I can bring in a yoga instructor? I can bring in a fitness instructor instead and share their experience with you as well. So on top of just my personal experience, build it as this like wealth of information for all these aspects of recovery that somebody needs to really build a strong, sustainable lifestyle, and bring in all these different professionals as well to be sharing and making videos with them to put on this channel. So when you come onto it, not only are you going to get all of my lived experience from recovery and all of my recovery coaching and counseling experience that I'm going to share as well, but then when you're curious about these things, fitness, nutrition, yoga, healthy daily routines, all these things, you're going to be hearing from other people that are practicing this every day, other professionals in these niche areas to really start building the best and the most sustainable recovery that you can for yourself.